everyone, it's me, Brenda Rose, and you are on my YouTube channel, Brenda Rose TV. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And also, after you've watched my show, please like or comment if you liked it. And if you have any comments, whether it's positive or negative, that's fine. You can leave that as well. I would love to hear what you have to say. So before I get started, I wanted to let you know that the reason I'm sharing my story is because I've had 3 people close to me commit suicide. And I also have folks that I know that are suffering from depression. Now, those things happen because of life circumstances, and sometimes they don't have people to go to, or they haven't healed in that department, and so they are left hopeless, and then you're left with committing suicide or clinical depression. So I'm very passionate about helping people. I've been doing it for 20 years, and not only that, I feel like it's my responsibility as a Christian woman as well to be part of, purpose, because I believe that I came here, God created me to come here and do something and leave something behind, leave a legacy. And so I just want to share my story in pieces. And I say pieces because it's a long story and I don't want to bore you to death in one take, and I don't have the power to make it all in one movie. So what I'm going to do is today you're going to hear part 1, and then part 2 is going to come next, and then part 3, and then so forth and so on. So sit back, relax, and watch the show. I'm back. Okay, so as you can see, I'm in my bedroom. I wanted to make it really cozy for both of us. And I also believe that it is my story, so I don't want to make it like a a documentary, sort of say. I just want to make it like a heart-to-heart, and I'm going to share with you. So I'm going to start off with where I grew up and where my parents came from. So I grew up in Boston, but my parents are from the Cape Verde Islands, where it's right off the west coast of Africa. And back in the 70s, my parents decided to come to the United States because it was a poor country. It's a poor country. I mean, there are rich and poor, but majority poor. And so they decided to come to America to get a better life. Yeah, to get a better life. Like every other immigrant, we come here because, you want a better life for yourself. Now, back in the 70s, my father's first job was a $2 an hour job. So it wasn't easy either when they came to America. It wasn't easy. So they had to take turns working. So they had 4 children, and I am the oldest, so 2 boys and 2 girls. So one of the things that that was really became a downfall, is because my father became an alcoholic, and so that put a lot of burden onto my mom, and she started getting anxiety and depression and a whole lot of other stuff, and babysitting issues. That was another concern as well. And so they resorted to neighbors and family members. They worked it out pretty much. Now, because things were getting harder, they decided, hey, how about not, get grandma and uncle into America And that was exciting. That was an exciting time when my parents told me my grandmother was going to come from Cape Verde and my uncle. I said, oh my gosh, we're going to have more family. This was going to be great. I was so excited, so excited. So when they came to the United States, it was just, wow, one happy family. And I thought I had two fathers, you know, because my biological father was there, but I also had my uncle who stepped in sort of like a dad. And I loved him, and it was so much fun. And then one, you know, out of the blue, my world came crashing. My world came crashing. It was, yeah, it came crashing. So my uncle, who I thought just loved me and had my best interest at heart, molested me. Yes. Now, before I go into that, I want to let you know that I'm not sharing out of shame or trying to expose him in an evil way, but I'm sharing it because the effect it had on my life, it changed the course of my destiny. And I had to really find healing, because I could have resorted to all sorts of other things, because I knew women who did. I could have gone that route, but what saved me was prayer. My grandmother prayed, was always praying. My mother, she was going to be a nun at one point, so she was always praying. Now, my parents didn't know I was molested at the age of 7. So I lived with that. I lived with that. But let me take you into the moment, the first time that it happened, so you can understand a little bit of how this all went down. Because I want people to understand what molestation is, and how the perpetrator or the pedophile, how they manipulate the mind of a young child to get them to do what he wants, you know, the child to do. So that night, I recall my uncle asking my mother if I could sleep with him in his bed. And of course, no one's thinking that your own uncle, you know, is going to do anything. You know, that was the last on my mom's mind, or anybody's mind. And as a 7-year-old, that's not something I even would think about. So I remember excited because this is my uncle. It's like my father, so not a big deal. But I remember laying next to him, and in the middle of the night, all of a sudden I felt his hands pulling down my panties. As a 7-year-old, you don't know what to think. It doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel right. I don't know what I was thinking. I just knew it wasn't familiar, and it wasn't something that felt right. So I froze for a minute because I wasn't sure which way it was going. And then as he continued to pull it down, my little heart started pounding. I'm sure he felt it, because I felt like I was having a little nervous breakdown. Now, I was always a clever little 7-year-old, so I had to come up with something. So I remember thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And I remember thinking, maybe if I go to the bathroom. So I just got up and I went to the bathroom and acted like I needed to go pee or something. But what I did in the bathroom is I sat on the toilet for 2 hours. 2 hours. Yeah. And a 7-year-old, think about it. They're just scared. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say. You don't know what's going on. You're confused. So I sat there for 2 hours trying to figure out, how do I get away from my uncle? Because I didn't want to go back to that bed. So after 2 hours, I needed to come up with something. So I remembered that my sister was sleeping in the bed next to us. And I thought maybe I was just going to jump into bed and sleep with her. So I jumped in the bed and I crawled behind her and I just held her from behind. And I just remember hugging her. Now I know she doesn't know about this. She never knew about it because she was too busy sleeping. I just remember holding her. I remember just touching her and just, I don't know, it was comfort for me. It was just comfortable. And then I was hoping that everything I would wake up and magically he would forget about everything and this was just an accident and everything will be good again. That's what I was thinking in my 7-year-old mind. But that's not what happened. I was molested for the next 3 years after that. So for 3 years straight, I was being molested by my own uncle. And I was going through my own little suffering. And I knew how much my mother loved her brother. So I knew I couldn't tell her because I felt like I would break her heart. And so, whew, wow, every time I think about it. I remember the only thing that would comfort me was watching Wonder Woman. And that's where the title comes in, the real life Wonder Woman. I remember I used to sit there with those big bulky TV and I would watch her, Linda Carter, in the 70s or 80s, or can't remember which year she did it, but I remember her spinning and I made my own headpiece and my own bracelet and my lasso of truth. And that was the only thing that kind of helped me through this whole thing. And so I wanted to thank Linda Carter. Like, I knew that one day if I could meet this lady, yeah, I would say thank you. Because that was part of my healing. That was part of my healing. So, the title, The Real Life Wonder Woman, came from that situation. I felt like I was Wonder Woman. I felt like the only way my 7-year-old mind, 7, 8, 9, 10 mind, could forget about the whole molestation was to pretend I was Wonder Woman. And some miraculous way, it worked. I went into my own worlds and it was just amazing. But not only that, I had 2 praying grandmothers. So even though one of them did not know what happened, she was still praying. And then the other one, eventually she found out. And it just hurt her so much that I truly believe that Years later, she died of a stroke because it was just too much to bear. This was her son. But I remember her telling my mother, when you go out, take your daughters with you. And my mother didn't get it. I mean, how is she supposed to get it? She didn't know what was going on. And I didn't tell her. But I remember, you know, at the age of 30, she had called me because I lived here in California. I moved to California, actually. And she said, I have something to tell you, but don't worry. It's just, Serena, you know, she just said this. I don't think she really means it. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what is it? Well, she said that Theo, his uncle, for some of you that don't speak Creole, she said that he pulled her pants down. Oh, as soon as she said that, that was my opportune time to start talking. Because this man tried to do it to my own daughter. Yes, my own daughter. And she was maybe 4 or 5 years old. So I knew that this was it. Time to tell the truth. Time to tell my mother what had happened. And I remember when I did tell my mother, there was a long pause on the other end of the phone. And I was not shocked. I don't think I was shocked. I was just surprised. Because I thought she would have, you know, taken it maybe a little bit differently than what I thought. But it wasn't a shock because she was so close to her brother. And I can only imagine if my brother had done something to my own daughter, how I would feel. Now, I would, of course, stick up for my daughter, but it would be a little difficult to understand. But what came next was just mind-boggling. And, or what she said next was just mind-boggling. Let's put it that way. But I'm not going into that. I'm going to save that one for the next video because I want to be able to go deeper into what she said and explain and sort of show you why she may have thought what she thought, or why her thinking felt the way it did, or yeah. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But before I end this, I just want to let you know that this is not about being ashamed or being sad or feeling guilty or any of that sort. But it's about informing so that another child will not get molested if we can help it. If a parent can recognize the signs, or how to, you know, work out the babysitting situation, or ways that we can, methods that can avoid children getting molested. Because when you take a child at the age of 4, anywhere from 8, those are crucial years. I mean, even beyond 8, but I'm saying between 4 to 8 is such a, wow, such a crucial time. And when trauma hits at that age, it takes a little bit longer in the healing department. And so that is the reason I'm passionate about sharing this story and wanting to help. And I also want to be a foster mother for this reason alone. Yes, yes. My goal is to one day be a foster mother so that I can help children in the system, because I definitely know that some of them have been molested or raped, abused, and so many other things. And so this, thinking about it, just, you know, my heart goes out to them. I mean, even though I had two loving parents, I still had trauma of my own. So imagine having two parents who don't have it together. And yeah. So this is part 1 of the Real Life Wonder Woman. I hope you took something from it. I hope you will share it with others. I hope you will subscribe to my channel. You know, comment. This is, I call teamwork. We're here to help one another, one way or another. And this is my purpose, and I want to make sure that I serve it well before I leave Earth. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, you know, following my IG page. And I'm grateful. Again, thank you. I will see you in part 2.